Welcome to our special online tour of the Wilson Brewer Park Depot Complex. The park continues to grow and evolve, and we hope that by taking this tour, you'll want to visit in person. The Illinois Central Depot. The second Illinois Central Railroad Depot was built around 1896 and was located on the west side of Des Moines Street and south of the railroad tracks. The first depot was built in 1869 and was across the street on the east side. The second depot had been the site of many huge crowds, especially during World War I and World War II, when the servicemen were given a rousing send-off by the community. The depot was to be torn down because of the Electrolux expansion, so the Boone River Area Art Guild sponsored a drive to save the depot. The east end of the depot was moved on December 28, 1971. The west end was then moved in January. Much of the inside of the depot is the same as when it was in operation. The depot now also serves as a welcome center and includes a gift shop. The depot is open regular hours, spring through fall. The first Hamilton County Courthouse was built in 1866 on the southeast corner of Bank Street and Seneca Street at a cost of $1,934. 2 offices were located on the first floor. No more room was required, as several positions were served by one person. The second floor served as the courtroom. The only access was by a stairway in the center of the building that could be accessed only on the outside. The first murder trial in the county was held here. A nephew of John Ross of Ross's Mill was tried for murder. He was later acquitted. The building served for 10 years during the Civil War days. It was sold to J.V. Kearns, a Civil War veteran, to be used as a house. It was moved to the corner of Bank Street and Union Street after the second courthouse was built in 1876. His daughter, Mrs. Margaret Arbogast, gave it to the Hamilton County Historical Society in 1980. It was then moved to its present location. The Mulberry Center Church was dedicated on July 18, 1890, as a United Brethren Church with 52 members. In 1946, they joined with the Evangelical Church to become the Evangelical United Brethren Church. In 1968, they united with the Methodist Church to become the United Methodist Church. They had always been associated and shared a minister with the United Methodist Church in Webster City. In 1990, the two churches united and built a new church, Faith United Methodist Church in Webster City. The Mulberry Center Church moved to Wilson Brewer Park on January 23, 1995. The name for the church comes from one of the early settlers, Mrs. Phil Morris. Being so depressed by the flat, grazing land, she sent to her native Wisconsin for several mulberry trees, and with their rapid growth and tendency to increase, the area was well supplied with mulberry trees. The Harmony Center School was donated by Bernard and Tilly Demaratsky. It was moved from Webster Township, 6 miles south of Webster City, and restored in 1977. It is a typical one-room school of the period from 1880 to the closing of rural schools. In the early 1900s, 19 to 20 students attended school during a typical term. The school was closed after the 1938-1939 school year. The last rural school in Hamilton County was the Cole Rural Independent School after the 1956-57 school year. The Jameson Cabin was built by Charles and Jake Jameson in 1860. It was located 4 miles northwest of Homer and moved to Wilson Brewer Park in 1931. The Wilson Brewer Jackson Groves Cabin. Wilson Brewer built a log cabin in 1850 along the banks of Brewer Creek just south of its present location. It was then moved to Section 12, northwest quadrant of Cass Township. The reason for this move is still a mystery. John and Garth and his wife moved the cabin in 1871. All of their children were born upstairs. Garth sold the cabin in 1917 to Peter Froling. He never used the cabin and gave it to Frank Bonebright, Wilson Brewer's grandson, to be used for a museum. Frank Bonebright then moved this cabin to its present location in 1931. Wilson Brewer died in this cabin in 1856 following stab wounds inflicted by a man named Pendergast as a result of an election quarrel. The Jackson Groves cabin was also moved to its present location in 1931. Frank Bonebright combined these two cabins for a museum. The Groves cabin was originally built where Briggs Woods Golf Course is now located. We hope you enjoyed this online tour. Please make plans to visit us in person soon.